Good morning, everyone. Guys, enough. I'm telling you, it's like as soon as I start play or going live, the cats start going crazy. I don't know. They were fine this whole hour I was here, and then the moment I sit down and whatever. But good morning and hello, everyone. Today is the 47th episode of this Bible study. So we've been doing this for 47 days. We're going to be doing Numbers chapter 14, which this looks like it's a pretty big chapter, but we'll get through it. I shouldn't sound so negative. It's not like we'll get through it. It's like we're going to get through it anyway, but it's like it seems to be a long chapter. We'll see how it goes now because I think I want to start keeping a tallying of what's been going on. The dogs are barking for some reason, so I don't know. Maybe there's somebody outside or something. Get a knock on the door. Knock. It'll be a knock on the door. I'll be like, oh, let me go get it. Anyway, let me start off with a prayer because I'm actually grateful for something. I'm gonna tell you a story after we do this prayer, and because yesterday after the show, I feel like I was in another dimension. I really do. So many things happened yesterday, and let me get to that. Let's do this. So, dear Lord, we come together. I want to pray for protection, for clarity. I want to thank you and pray for all the things you've given. I want to understand your words that I read before, and I'm praying for a peaceful, coexisting life that we can share our opinions, we can have various thoughts, and that we can learn together and be happy. Amen. I guess that's a good prayer. I don't know. I always have trouble with the verbalization of prayers. So, good morning, everyone. And hello who just joined. Welcome. So first thing is, I know this is going to sound crazy. I got a new phone case. And the phone case that I have doesn't necessarily fit in the stand that I had. So I had to do this mock little thing, but I think it's okay. It looks like it's steady. It's not vibrating or moving too much, so that's a good thing. So let me tell you what happened yesterday, because I am going to say, once again, divine intervention. I'm really going to say, I almost feel like yesterday was a series of signs, and at first glance, I ignored the signs. But now that I'm reflecting about what happened and how everything went boom, 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 I feel like that there's more to the story. So let me start off with a video. And I think this is important to talk about this video. The video was a TikTok video that questioned an atheist as to why do they not believe in God. And if you listen to the video carefully, brings up some really, really good points. It literally was this woman that says, if there's a God, why do they allow children are saying? Why do they allow abuse? Why do they allow hatred? Why do they allow... And it just was this, like, point after point after point after point as to all the things that God doesn't do. All the things that we have a right to be angry about. All the things that I pointed out in this, as I read this, I keep saying, where's the loving God? Where is the loving Lord? And the reason I'm pointing this out is because it has an impact on me. Because it's so easy to point out flaws with something. It really is. It's so much easier to point out flaws compared to pointing out the positives. And people may disagree with me. They'll be like, and the reason I say that is I almost feel like as a society, when we need to compliment or we need to give praise or we need to give positivity, it's almost blinded by lies. And let me explain that. And I know I'm going in so many different directions. I have a point, and it's hard for me to get to my point. But as a society, I almost feel like we fake praise and we fake compliment and we fake positivity. Hear me out. And I'm going to get myself in trouble for this. Lots of times I see videos of people who are genuinely ugly to the normal, or even, something. In fact, instead of saying people, I'm going to use myself. I know for a fact I'm fat. No, no, no kidding. I'm fat. I have a weight issue. And I know that for a lot of people, they are going to be turned off by my appearance. We see it all the time. I mean, I'm probably inviting negativity right now, but I'm using myself instead of using other people. I could use other people, but I'm going to use myself. Yes, I'm aware of the issue I have. Yes, I'm aware that people don't like me. Yes, I'm aware that there are people who are repulsed and disgusted by me. I'm aware of it. I know it. But yet, if I come onto here and look for validation, there will be people that will destroy me and tell me how fat, how ugly, how double chin, how this or that. I mean, I get it all the time. But at the same time, there'll be people to say, but hey, you're a beautiful soul. You have great eyes. You have a great smile. You have a great personality, which is good. But at the same time, that diminishes the initial inquiry as far as when somebody says, am I ugly? Am I beautiful? Do I turn you off? Because you can still say to somebody, you are a beautiful soul, you have a good heart, you have a great smile, but still in the back of your mind think this person is ugly, it's a turn off, and this and that. And I feel like as a society, we lie to people too much about the positives. Whereas the negatives are so easy to point out. It's so easy to point out the fact that I'm fat. It's so easy to point out that I have a double chin. It's so easy to point out my flaws. But I feel like the moment we start pointing out the good things about people, it becomes disingenuous. It becomes like skirting the issue. Like I may be asking about one thing, but so let me loop around because, like I said, I know I'm going in so many different. So the point that I'm trying to make, going back to this atheist video, is that so quickly she's pointing out, boom, 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 these are the flaws of God. These are the flaws of Jesus. These are the flaws of the Lord. Even with me, I'm reading this and saying, this to me is a totally different God than what I know of Jesus. It really is. And it's so easy for me to point out the flaws. But yet, I have to change my mentality and figure out, what are the good things? What are the things that he brought into my life that's good? So now, having said that, because this is a very important thing, this ties in to what happened to me yesterday. And you guys could say this is crazy. The kids think I'm crazy. Chris is a little weirded out by it. Hello, Ella. Welcome to the show. Let me join Talk Bible in that. Not too sure what you mean by that, but welcome to the show. Right now, I didn't start yet. We are going to start chapter 14, but I wanted to tell a story of what happened yesterday because for me, I strongly believe this was a case of divine intervention. I'm going to say what happened, and like I said, the kids are a little weirded out. The Chris is a little weirded out, but I'll tell you what happened. Yeah, come on in. Join in. I'm not going to bring you up as far as guests. If anybody ever wants to be a guest, contact me privately. We could discuss that. But as far as this, we're going to read verses, but we're not there yet. I'm still telling a story. So last night after this live, which we ended the live, if I'm not mistaken, around, I want to say 12:30, 1 o'clock. I don't even remember what time I ended the live. But let's just say for fair sake, it was 1 o'clock. All right? I think that's what time I ended it. So somewhere between 12 and 1. And I get up and I go into the living room. And this is exactly what happened. Now, the kids, bear in mind, have been in the living room the entire morning watching TV. They're in there. They're watching TV. In fact, one of them was singing karaoke. The older one was on his phone, whatever. So they've been in there all morning. I've been in here all morning on the live. And I'm walking around and I'm starting to feel lightheaded, confused, and I'm feeling like something's wrong. Good morning, Sarah. Sarah, just in time. You're going to appreciate this story. So I'm feeling like disoriented and confused. And then all of a sudden, I start tasting gasoline. I'm tasting gasoline. And I'm like, and I now remember, guys, I can't smell or taste. For me, food and scents come through senses. Because without my smell and taste, I feel things. So I'm literally walking through the house and I'm feeling like something's wrong. And I'm tasting gasoline. And I'm like, and I said to the kids, I said, guys, do you smell something? Do you smell gasoline? And they're looking at me and they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, and I'm like tasting it in my mouth and I'm like feeling it. And I'm like, okay, something's wrong. So we don't have gas in the house at all. Everything's electric. But the area does have gas pipes and stuff like that. So I go outside and I'm not feeling anything outside. But once again, I come back in the house and I'm feeling like there's something wrong. No, this is a real event. This happened directly after the show. That's why I'm saying I believe yesterday divine intervention. That's what I'm getting at because I think this is a story. So then I go into the kitchen. So now I'm in the kitchen and all of a sudden I'm hearing screaming. Now bear in mind, they're in the living room with the TV blaring. She's singing karaoke. He has the phone on. So there's like noise, noise, noise. The dogs are barking. I mean, it's that kind of thing. And I mean, the dogs weren't even barking violently. They were just like their normal happiness and they were outside and because they have a thing where they go out, in. So I let them outside and I'm still walking around. So now I'm in the kitchen and all of a sudden I hear this screaming sound. And I'm like, what is that noise? And I say to the guy, I say to the kids, I'm like, guys, what's that noise? And they're looking at me like, huh? So now I says, pause everything. Just mute everything. And they muted the TV and I'm still hearing that screaming sound. So I'm like, do you hear that? And they're looking at me like, what are you talking? I says, you don't hear that screaming sound. It is, and they're like, what? I'm like, it's, so at first I thought it was the refrigerator. And I'm like, no, it's not the refrigerator because the refrigerator hums as it is. And I'm walking back and forth in the kitchen. I'm like, what is going on? Because I'm tasting gasoline and I'm hearing screaming, but we don't have gas in the house. All of a sudden, I find what is going on, and the fear just exaggerated. It turns out that Chris was working on something in the morning before he left, and he had a tank that he uses for a blowtorch. It's a commercial grade tank that he uses for a like fire. So I'm not too sure if it's propane, butane, or whatever. It's some sort of gas that he uses to blowtorch something. But we're not talking a small thing. We're talking about a big tank. This thing has been opened without the flame, hissing for at least 6 hours, filling up the entire house with this gas that you can't necessarily smell. Like you can't smell it. However, not only did I hear it, which they even said, because I said, do you hear this? And they're looking at me like, what do you, I'm like, you don't hear it screaming. So not only did I hear it with the TV on, with the phone on, with the dogs barking, I'm also tasting it, something that you can't smell, that you can't. And I, of course, freak out. So immediately I shut the tank, which the tank itself was actually covered with a frost because this thing has been spewing gas for the last 7 hours in the house and nobody knew it. So it was like leaking gas for 7 hours. I'm hearing it, I'm tasting it, and I didn't realize until I went outside, because here I'm in the closed room. I got the windows, I got the fan. It wasn't until I went in the hallway and I'm like, what is that? The kids were exposed to it the entire time since they were watching TV. They had no idea. And I said, and immediately what I did was I opened up all the windows, I opened up the doors, got the cross ventilation in, stuff like that, turned off the tank, but there was frost all over the tank because this thing was like just spewing gas without the flame. And I'm going to say this, like, I know that certain instances, some may say, oh, it's a coincidence, oh, it's this and that. I'm like, no, in something like that, to me, that's divine intervention. That really is. Because A, it could have been in so many different ways. A, the house could have blew up. Let's face it. I mean, in 7 hours of a gas leak, the house could have blew up. B, there's no scientific reason for somebody who has no sense of taste and no sense of smell to be tasting and smelling a gas that a normal person does not smell or taste. Aside from that, hearing it. How did I hear something as little as a little tiny hiss coming from a hole in a tank that I was able to hear that with all the noise of everything going on? So, I mean, and I said this to Chris because I'm a little freaked out. And Chris and the kids are like, you heard that? And they don't believe it. They can't explain it. I can't explain it. But it's like, I'm a little freaked out and I'm a little bothered by it. But at the same time, I am completely blessed and grateful and appreciative and coming today. So how this ties in, because I started off with the story with the atheist. Because remember, everything, like, I feel like everything yesterday I was in some sort of weird simulation and it's just one thing after the other. So the fact that I saw a video from an atheist that's basically saying there is no God, there is no this, there is no that. And my point is that it's so easy to point out the bad stuff. It's so easy to point out flaws. But to actually turn around and say, okay, even though there is flaws, there's also goodness in the world. There's also good things. So in the case of where the question was, why doesn't God do this for me? The answer I have is, it's not only God up there. It's not only Jesus. It's not only the Lord. We're also facing the very opposite side of the spectrum as well. We're facing where there are, and if you want to dare say gods, but we could just call them demons or Satan or demigod or whatever. You could call them evil. Aside from the good in the world, there's also very much evil in the world. And I feel like on a daily basis, the two sides are at war with each other, and we are the ones that are basically in the middle of the war. And it's, what side do you choose? Do you choose this side? Do you choose this side? Or do you go completely blinded and say that there's no side whatsoever? I'm just going to keep living my life. And all these little things that happen on a day-to-day basis, both good and bad, you're just going to brush off saying, well, that's normal. And I almost want to say what happened yesterday, for me, was not normal at all. I mean, you could just brush it off and say, oh, it was a gas leak. Okay, whatever. But how did all that stuff happen at the same time? Because, like I said, the house could have easily blew up. We could have passed out from some sort of gas poisoning. I don't know. I don't know how to think of it. I really don't. So, I mean, I'm going to say that I'm blessed that I'm here. I'm blessed that whatever happened, happened. I'm blessed that I was able to stop the situation. But like I said, we're talking about 6 hours of gas leak. And I mean, I almost want to say, statistically speaking, how much can gas leak in an enclosed house before something bad could potentially happen? So let me go back because, like I know the story is probably, okay, Dean, I have no idea what you're talking about, but good for you. Have a pickle. Sounds like God was protecting. I think, yeah, Sarah, I'm going to say that's absolutely the case. It's a spiritual warfare. Yeah, good versus evil. I really believe it. And it's all going around all the time. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for intervening and protecting Melanie, Chris, and the kids. See, Chris wasn't home at the time because he did the work in the morning. Because remember, I said he wakes up at like 4 a.m. in the morning. So for him, the time between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock before he leaves to work is his like private time. I mean, most of the time I'm awake, but I leave that time for him because that's his decompressing. Whereas for most people, it's after work. For him, it's before work. So he decompresses life before work, and then he goes to work. And then when he comes home, we have dinner. He hangs out with the kids. So I mean, it's like an opposite schedule. But I always leave that time. So for whatever reason, yesterday he decided to do work with this tank torch thingy and left it open without realizing. So, but I don't know anything about it. It was a blue tank, so I don't know if that has any bearing or anything like that. I really don't know, but it's blue and it has all the warning labels all over it about explosion and stuff like that. So I have no idea. I mean, I'm going to assume we could have died, or maybe I'm just overreacting. I really didn't like go into it, but but I'm not too sure. Yeah, it's flammable regardless. I mean, I don't know. So whatever it is, it's like I said, it's this big blue tank that he attaches the blowtorch to when he's like I guess what the word is, soldering or using fire to put things together. I'm not good with I'm seriously not not good with what types of things or what. I have no idea. I'm assuming it's propane, but propane, if I'm not mistaken, usually comes in a white tank. So I don't know if they call it like propane or butane, or if it's gas. Whatever gas comes in a big blue tank. So whatever. All I know is I'm going to say divine intervention. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say divine intervention, and I'm going to praise the Lord that we're here, because that was just really a strange story. But like I said, I know my mind is going this and this. It goes back to that video, like I said, that I saw, where and I almost want to say, because I saw that video yesterday, and I almost want to say it's like, okay, it's an attack trying to have me convince otherwise. Because why would I watch a video with an atheist saying, you realize God doesn't exist, God doesn't do this, God allows bad things to happen, and I'm saying to myself, yes, there's a lot of evil in the world, but is that necessarily God's fault? Because I really believe, and you guys can disagree with me, I believe there's so much more to the story. I do believe that we're only being taught part of the story, and the other part of the story is there is a constant war in the spiritual realm between good and evil as well. I don't think that there is a complete divide. And I also don't think that God encourages evil to intervene, but I think it's at the point where evil is just as powerful as God is. But, and I know that's probably blasphemous for saying, but I do believe that evil has just as much power as God does. And that's why there are times that there are certain people that will live in misery because they allowed their lives to be consumed on the evil side. Whereas if they just cross over, maybe they can go to the good side and their life can turn around. Because that's one thing I have to say, and this is what I'm envious of. I am so envious, and I know I'm getting my trouble to say this. I am so envious when I look at people to see how excited they are about Jesus. But at the same time, I get angry with that, and I know I shouldn't get angry, because I feel like, why are you getting so happy from a spiritual being when you can get the same happiness from living life? But then on the other hand, And this goes with the whole idea of always envious of other people. There are people who tell me that they cannot believe how happy, how bubbly, how positive that I am. So there are people who are envious of me with almost the same reason as I'm envious of other people, if that makes sense. So it makes me wonder, is there this like cycle of happiness? Whereas that same cycle of happiness can be a cycle of depression and negativity. I don't know. Okay, I know I'm saying a lot of things and I know I'm all over the place, but I hope you guys are following my craziness right now. Let me see what we have. It's not as powerful, but maybe they've given into that side. Well, that's one of the things I want to say is if you don't, okay, I almost want to say your choices in life, as although we have many choices, it boils down to this: you can believe in something, or you could not believe in something. Now, whatever that something is your choice. But what I'm saying is, okay, if you believe in it and it's not true, then it's simply not true. But if you don't believe in it and it actually, the thing you don't believe is actually true, then you automatically ostracized yourself from whatever that thing that is true is. Apply that to any religion if you want. Apply it to any concept if you want. So isn't it better to believe than not believe? That's a question. I mean, I don't know. Okay, Sarah says, because it's not the same happiness. And I agree with you. I mean, I think part of my problem is, and like I said, why I said that I'm envious of religious people who will say to, because they have one thing that I lack, and that is the faith. I may believe in something, but you could believe in something without having faith. I believe in Santa Claus, but I have no faith that Santa Claus is going to come down my chimney because I know that it's my family giving gifts. So you see where you can believe in something, but you don't necessarily have to have faith in something. I can believe that there is a God. I believe genuinely that yesterday was divine intervention. I'm lacking the faith, and I don't know why I lack the faith. That's me. I don't know why. Maybe that's my block. Maybe that's my blinders. Maybe that's what's holding me back. But I am a believer. I'm just lacking the faith in my belief. Sarah says, I get so excited about Jesus because I live the life without him and the joy comes. Now, if I may point that out before I go to the next one, that is part of my belief is you need to know one side of any coin before you can appreciate and understand the other side. And it's perfect with what you just said. You understand what life is without him. So now that you're with him, the appreciation, the happiness, the joy, because you're realizing things are different with him than what they were without him. And that's a very important concept. I think that's what part of my problem is because there was a time I was with him and then I allowed myself to go without him. And now there's a time I'm going back with him. And because of that, I think I'm in this sense of confusion and misunderstanding to try to figure out, because I already know how bad my life was. I'm seeing how good my life is and how things are turning around and how everything is changing. And I think that's where it is, that appreciation that's coming in. And I mean, I even yesterday I was teasing, and not that I'm teasing, but I said to Chris, I'm like, and it's not me putting him up on a pedestal, but I said to him, I said, Chris, I don't know if you really, really realize where I was heading before I met you, where my life was going. I'm feeling like this is a complete, and remember, I've only been with Chris for a year now, and some people could say, oh, you're blinded by, you're in the honeymoon phase, you're in the, whatever, you can knock it down. But the fact is, I almost want to say the day I met Chris, which this is true because he says the same thing. The day I met Chris, it was like we were always together. I literally came over to meet him the very first time and never left. And to me, that's crazy. Like, when I really think about it and I say to myself, I'm like, Chris, do you realize you had me move in 2 weeks before after we met? And he's like, I did. And I said, and there was no reason for me to move in. I had a house. I have a house. I have a house. Like, why did I move in? There was no reason for me to move in. I'm a house owner. I have a, like, why did I move in with you? It baffles me. I mean, now we have rent, but you know what I mean? It's like, it baffles me. Why did I move in with him? But let me go on. I'm sorry. All right, so it comes from his supernatural, and I don't know how to explain it to. Okay, nitrogen. So nitrogen, I'm assuming, is still flammable and all that other stuff. I mean, is that what people use for? Is that what people use for blowtorching things? Is nitrogen? I have no idea. It can displace confinement, may lead to asphyxia. Okay, so I'm looking at it. So nitrogen is not flammable. Okay, it's not flammable. All right, I don't know why there's. So wait a minute. If it's not flammable, how is he blowtorching things? I have no idea. While nitrogen is chemically stable, it does not readily react with. Therefore, nitrogen itself is not. Okay, so maybe this isn't. Okay, hold on. I don't think maybe it is a blue tank. I mean, nitrogen. What gases are in blue tanks? Why is this? It might be acetylene because it says a flammable gas used in welding and cutting. I mean, that's what he's using it for. He's using it for putting together metal pieces. So is that considered welding? I don't know. I don't know. It could be acetylene. It could be. I have no idea. I should just ask him, what kind of gas is this? I don't know. Anyway, that's part of my personal testimony. I was raised in a Christian home overseas because my parents were they were missionaries? That's interesting. But at the same time, and I'm just going to say, what's the word I'm looking for? As a stereotype, if your parents are missionaries, usually that's not an easy childhood. Stereotypically speaking. You could tell me I'm totally wrong, but I find my own way and know it was real for me because I believed, and not just because I was raised that way. Okay, we're getting a lot of. I said something hateful to you and want to apologize. You said something. Oh, okay. Welcome. Also, wait. Also, were you the one with the V with the O? Whatever. If you're apologizing, I appreciate it. I'm not too sure what you said, but welcome to the club, and of course, welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the show. Hi, Angel. Welcome to the show. All right. Oxygen acetylene. Okay, so is oxygen acetylene flammable? I don't know. I'm looking up a gas. So, like, the flame. Okay, maybe that's what it is. So, in other words, would we have blown up if this was an actual gas leak? Because all I know is this thing just kept, for 7 hours, the tank emptied out. So, or am I just saying that we're not going to blow up? I don't know. If there's a oxygen acetylene gas leak, would that be a blow up? It's like, is it flammable? Yeah, it says it's okay. So it probably is because I'm looking at the tanks with all the little warning signs. So yeah, it's probably acetylene. Okay, so yeah, we could have blew up. I forgot what I said honestly, but I got muted and I'm sorry. Okay, well, also, my rule is I don't block people, I mute people. So yesterday, I will admit that I was short tempered. So if anybody said something extremely stupid, I just blocked. So you might have gotten mixed in. I don't remember what you said either, but I apologize if I blocked you. Obviously, it's a temporary thing that the next show you get unblocked. So, I mean, I don't block, I just mute. It's a temporary mute to shut people up sometimes because sometimes I have to do that. I think I'm all caught up. All right, so whatever type of gas it was, let's just say there was a 7 hour gas leak. And I think it's divine intervention because even if it wasn't flammable, even if it wasn't dangerous, the fact was there was a 7 hour gas leak. It did cause me to get a really bad headache. But for whatever reason, I was the only one in the house that could smell a gas that you can't smell because I tasted it. And I heard it leaking, which is almost impossible because how can you hear a pinhole leak in a gas tank? To me, that's divine intervention. Particularly, I heard it over all background noise, all the TV, the singing, the dogs, the this and that. So I heard it, and we're okay. So I'm going to say, I mean, I'm not going to diminish the fact that I feel like it was a miracle, and I think that's important. Where what I was tying into, because even after that happened, I'm watching videos, and what keeps popping up is all atheist videos, which is fine because I know I'm on the religious side of TikTok, so I'm going to get religious. I'm going to get atheist videos. I'm going to get different points of view, and I'm willing to accept. I mean, if an atheist can give me a good point as to why they don't believe, but in regards to that particular video, the reason why I'm objecting to that, not because I'm blinded and I want to say, is that too many times people so easily point out the bad in things that they forget to point out the good. And that's where it's tying in together with that, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to say, like I said, there was divine intervention. Sarah says it was God for sure. There was divine intervention. And I mean, I almost want to say, like, I almost want to have a talk show of just sharing moments of miracles and weird things. I mean, some people call it like glitches in the matrix. You can call it that way on a non-religious aspect. But on a religious aspect, it always makes me wonder why, when something so out of the ordinary happens, that it's so powerful and so it makes you like question existence. And every now and then I get stuff like that happen. That's how I feel what happened yesterday to me. I think you get atheist videos because you haven't surrendered to Jesus yet, and the enemy knows that. Well, that's part of what I'm saying is you have the good side, but you have to forget that there's the bad side as well. And I feel like they're constantly at war with each other, and it's easier to, I don't want to say convert, but it's easier to confuse somebody who is on the fence than it is somebody who made their choice. So I almost want to say they're not going to attack somebody who already says there's no such thing as God, God doesn't exist. At the same time, it's not necessarily going to attack somebody that I already said has that glory and that positivity and that joy in saying the Lord or God or Jesus' name. Adam, I do believe in God. I don't necessarily believe in God the way that he's presented in most religions. So I know that's an iffy way of doing it, but yes, I'm on the fence. But the more that I'm reading and looking at this, because this is the first time I'm reading the Bible, so the more I'm reading about this, the more I'm getting more passionate about this. So, as far as religions, I appreciate and I try to learn about all religions. So it's not a matter of believing, it's a matter of, for me, knowing bits and pieces of different religions. So, and I mean, if you're into Judaism, you'd appreciate this because I'm still on the first 5 books of. I'm on Numbers right now, so we're still in the Torah section. But very, very interesting what's been going on. So, all right, that was my story for the day. Yeah, that's my story. So I'm just going to say that that was divine intervention. To me, that was my little miracle. Yeah, because honestly, I'm looking at this. I'm just going to say that if it was acetylene oxygen, it is a colorless. Doesn't say anything about odorless. But it is a gas that's flammable that you use for welding. So that's probably the gas because he has all the attachments and stuff to it that goes to the big tank. So I'm going to assume that's the gas he was using. Whatever. I have to ask him. I don't know. All I know is it was leaking and that was scary. And I'm just going to say that it's a miracle and I'm going to stop trying to what's the word? I'm going to stop trying to knock it down saying that it wasn't, that it was just an everyday occurrence. I'm going to take it that somehow that was divine intervention. So that's my take on that. Okay, so next, hold on one second. Okay. Sorry, had a message. All right, so let's start off with Numbers. We are doing Numbers chapter 14. So now, I almost want to do this, and it's going to be. I think I might do this not to make fun, and I'm not trying to mock, but I almost want a tally system because there's a couple of things I want to tally. I want to tally how many times there's some sort of murderous rampage. I'm sorry, I know you guys don't like me saying that, but that's tally number one. I also want to tally how many times there's some sort of act of forgiveness because I think that's important. Because I am noticing, even in these murderous rampages, the Lord is forgiving. I want to tally how many times people are going against the Lord. And I think that's important because that ties into anger. So I want to almost make this list like a little board and do little check marks. And I'm almost willing to do it by going back to the Bible and start back to the beginning and start doing this and see how many check marks we get as we go along. Because I think there'll be an interesting correlation, excuse me, an interesting correlation as we build more and more into the Bible. And I think that'll also be an interesting for me to visually see it. Because then that's going to go into the thing about what are we focusing on. That's why I want to have all these little topics with the check marks. Because am I only focusing on the murderous rampages? No. I want to also focus on acts of forgiveness. I want to focus on acts of love. I want to focus on both sides. So I think that's a little project I am going to do on my own. And depending upon how it is as we read, I might add to it and maybe bring it as a little, I don't know. I might do that. That might be something I do today. Because the reason that I'm even thinking about doing it means I probably should do it. And it'll give me a chance to reread some of the things that I've been reading. Because that's another thing. Reading for me right now is so slow. But we're talking about it. Let me go back for a second because the rampages as eternal damnation and the forgiveness acts of Jesus on the cross. Think of ... Okay, I'm not too sure the ... Were you trying to say something or it muted it out? So I'm not too sure what the ... is. Think of... I mean, I'm saying murderous rampage. Think of the rampages. But there were reasons for the rampages. That's what I'm trying to get at. I mean, I'm saying, hey, this is a murderous rampage, but there's always a... Oh, you were correcting a typo. Okay. I thought for some reason, because in my game, when it goes ... it means you said a curse word, but it censors it. So I'm like, think of... Okay, what am I thinking of? What's the... Yeah, I play a stupid little game that has a chat feature, and when anybody curses, it does the ... So that's why for some reason I'm like, wait a minute, is that doing that here in TikTok? Well, the interesting thing, I will say this. The game I'm talking about is called the Grand Mafia. I have been playing... I shouldn't even admit this. Yeah, I have been playing this game daily for a year and a half now. A year and a half. And Chris, of course, calls it mafia crack. He says, that's your mafia crack. Because you're a mafia don and you like battle other people and stuff like that. And I realized I became way too obsessed with this game. But at the same time, I've already spent a year and a half of my life on it. So now I don't play it as much as I do, but I still check in daily. I'm also at the point in the game where my character is so powerful that all I need to do is like log in once a day for like 5 minutes and I could still be just as powerful, if that makes any sense. So, so every now and then with Mafia, so whatever. But yeah, that's my little decompression is my little Mafia game. Um, and I tease him. Well, that's so fun. I tease him because in all my relationships, my partner was always a gamer. Chris is not a gamer at all, and yet he's complaining to me that I'm the gamer. And I'm like, oh, what did I just do? I came full circle. So all the complaints I ever had with my partners being gamers, he's now complaining that I'm a gamer. And I look at him, I'm like, this is the one and only game I play. I'm not playing Xbox. I'm not playing PlayStation or Wii or whatever. I'm simply playing an app game on my phone that I end up being a mafia boss and I can do things. We go to war or whatever. I don't know. Okay, I'm blabbering. I'm sorry guys. I am totally blabbering. But the reason I want to back to what I was Clash Royale. Okay, so it's well. If wait, Clash Royale isn't that the one with the blocks and the little king that comes along and he gets into little? Is that the one I'm thinking of? He's like he gets trapped in these situations and you got to move the blocks in order to free him. I don't know. You just tell me if I'm on the right track or if I'm not. No, this Mafia game is you literally build your character and you have to build troops. No, that's the annoying Ed. Oh, that's the annoying Ed in the other games. I thought that was... I don't know what Clash Royale is. But in my Grand Mafia, I basically have to join a faction and I have to build my characters, and I have to rob things, and I have to do little side quests and stuff like that. I have to build my troops up. I have to keep up with housing. I have to build houses. So it's a builder game along with fighting. The king is in a tower, and you have to collect cards to fight battles to protect your... Okay, so I would say it's the same concept, except yours is a king. Mine's a mafia boss in, like, the mafia. But it's the same concept. I've got to collect things. I've got to protect my mafia boss. I've got to build my little soldiers. So those games, for me, I consider that completely a mental detachment. Because if things get too rough, all I have to do is log on to my game. And the beauty of it is it takes forever. Like, I'm in the process right now that if I want to build something, it will take me 160 days to build this. However, as the game progresses, I'll get like little speed ups, I'll get little things to make the build quicker. But it's like, yes, it takes 160 days just to build this little thing because, like I said, I've been doing this a year and a half. My character is powerful. Way back in the beginning, that same build for whatever I was building might take 30 seconds. So it's like as you progress in the game, everything gets longer and longer and longer. And that's why I was saying I'm at the point right now I can log on for 5 minutes. It's like, okay, I'm going to start building this thing. Let me go add my speed ups to it. Let me do this. Oh, we're talking about everything but the Bible. I'm getting distracted, guys. Okay, no, we're going back to the Bible. The point I'm trying to make is, okay, in regards to the game, actually, I don't know what the point is. I don't know why we got into gaming, but that's my way of decompressing. This is also a way of, I shouldn't say decompressing, but every day I'm coming in and I'm finding so much joy reading this and so much... No, don't be sorry. We'll have days like this where I'm on a rant. I wanted to tell that story about what happened yesterday because, like I said, even me, I'm still feeling like, wow, that was divine intervention. It really was to me. Like, that was something happened yesterday. It did. And I mean, to me, it wasn't just a normal instance. To me, that was something that had power and energy and divineness, and like that's how I look at it. And I mean, maybe I'm reacting in a good way or a bad way. I mean, maybe some people will be like, you're overreacting. It was just an everyday occurrence. Maybe other people would be like, yeah, you were touched by God. He came into the, or maybe other thing is like, you're totally crazy because why would you even think that that was an intervention from God? However you want to look at it, you can, but that's how I look at things. I look at things from different perspectives. And to me, all I know is that was not a normal everyday occurrence. That wasn't a normal thing that would happen in an instance. Yeah, I do. And that's the thing. I do see it. I feel it. I experience it. All I know is something like I almost want to say, all right, maybe this is the fear versus awe versus terrible agreement, if that makes sense, because the words sometimes aren't translated correctly. So when they said about, is God's power awesome? Is it terrible? Is it awestruck? Is it fearful? I mean, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. It's a weird feeling that I'm feeling. It's not something that I normally fear. I'm feeling a sense of gratefulness. I'm feeling a sense of like, wait a minute, what just happened? I'm feeling a sense of like slight confusion. Like, that's not something that would normally happen. Like, it's out of the ordinary. So whatever emotions I'm feeling, it's all through the spectrum. So yes, you could say awe. Going back to the Hebrew, how they defined terrible, I think the terribleness is not because it's a bad thing, but because it's like, wait a minute, it just didn't necessarily feel right as it should have felt. Something happened, something was different than the normal. So that's where I think terrible comes in. But yeah, I think it's awesome. Okay, let's get to chapter 14. All right, so we're going to see, and maybe like I said, I'll start tallying. Are we still going to go on a murderous rampage? I don't know. I'm going to say hopefully he's no longer angry, because he already plagued them with the quail, and he already plagued, I forgot her name, started with an M. The sister, what was her name? Miriam. He already plagued Miriam with leprosy. So by this point, she should be cured because she was only banned for 7 days. So she had to have leprosy for 7 days. And then whatever the cleanliness tabernacle thing, now she's back in the mix of things. So now let's go to 14 and see where the story unfolds. He loves you so much that he would protect you and reveal himself to you. I believe that. And yes, I like I said, I really think it was God's intervention, and I'm going to keep it that way. Nobody could talk to me otherwise, even if they try saying, "Well, God is this, God is," like, I don't care if they try to dissuade me. I am flat out going to say that yesterday was not the normal circumstances of what normally would happen. That's how I look at it. All right, so chapter 14, verse 1, we are on Numbers. Let's see where we go. So, all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. Okay, so why are they weeping? I think this has to go back to the spies. So the spies of the camp already went out to try to gauge what they're getting into when they fight. And one of the things right off the bat is the Amalekites. The Amalekites are giants. We don't know, are they giants merely a couple of inches taller, or are they literally giants that are hundreds and hundreds of feet tall? I'm going to go with the assumption that they are giants hundreds and hundreds of feet tall. Because for them to look out on the mountain and say, we are nothing but a mere bug, what did they say? We saw, what was it? They said something about grasshoppers? Yes. Anak, which comes from giants, and we are in our own sight as grasshoppers, as so we are in their sight. So, image speaking, These people are as small as grasshoppers to the sight of these huge. So I'm going to assume that these giants are like 100 feet, 200 feet. They're big. That's my assumption. And basically, they're going to be going to war with these people if they should take the land. Let's see what happens. All the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, and the whole congregation said unto them, Would God that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God we had died in the wilderness? Okay, to me, that's a question that doesn't make sense. I almost feel like they changed it because for some reason there's a little b. What does a little b mean? Oh, it's leading to Deuteronomy. Okay, so it has something to do with Deuteronomy. I'm going to see what the layman's, because to me that doesn't make sense. Would God that we had died in the land of Egypt? Are they asking, would God have allowed us to die in the land of Egypt? Or are they asking, why would God allow us to die? I don't understand the context of that question because the question right now does not make sense in my version. Let's go to Numbers. We're on Numbers 14:2. Okay, Numbers 14:2. Would that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would that we had died in the wilderness? No, that still doesn't make sense. Okay, this one makes sense. The Living Bible said, we wish we had died in Egypt or even here in the wilderness. Okay, so that makes a little sense. Not that would God allow us to die. Maybe they're saying we should have died in Egypt or we should have died in the wilderness, not fighting these giants. Let me see what the next one says. If only we had died in Jesus or in the desert. Okay, so basically they're questioning, I think they're questioning God. Why are we getting into this war with giants? We should have died in Egypt. We should have died in here. It's just the wording didn't make sense here. So would God that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God we had died in the land of wilderness? And wherefore had the Lord brought us onto this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and children should be prey? Were it not better for us to return to Egypt? Okay, so once again, yes, always complaining and wishing to go back to slavery. Which I'm going to say this, that is the mindset of slavery. There is such a brainwashing thing that when an enslaved person is finally free, they don't realize that they're free. And I'm going to give a couple examples. And I will say this, I know this, but a couple examples just to prove this point. If a person is in an abusive relationship, you would think once they get out of an abusive relationship that things will be better. No, what's the first thing that they do? They generally go right back into another abusive relationship because they're in this perpetual never-ending cycle where they're craving that type of personality that their abusers always gave. So that's one example. Another example I'm going to give is somebody who's been in prison for a long time. When they are, I almost want to say the movie Shawshank Redemption. This is a perfect example. Is when they released the old guy out of prison. He was in prison for like 40, 50 years, and they finally released him because of old age. And he's like, what am I going to do? He ends up killing himself. He ends up unaliving himself. Because he couldn't bear the fact that he was free. He was so used to being in bondage that he didn't know what it meant to be free. So I almost want to say when it comes with slavery, you're so used to being in that sort of, because they learned to cope with, because think about it, they were in Egypt. They were slaves, but they had unlimited food. They had the house over their head. They didn't have to worry about war. They didn't have to worry about anything. All they had to do was abide by whatever the rules. They could worship their own gods. So in a sense, in their freedom, in their bondage, they had freedom. Yeah, they were always complaining and wishing to go back to slavery, same with spiritual slavery. So I can see why they wanted to return back to Egypt, because they valued their lives so much better in the older ways than they do now. You've got to run, you got an appointment, but if you're still on, not a problem. You know I'm still going to probably be on for a little bit, but so glad that you were here, Sarah. Have a great day. So my question is, because this was a philosophy that I used to live by, that only in bondage is one truly free. That's probably one of the worst things to think about. That's probably a bad philosophy, but it made me very hard to realize what the benefits of when I didn't attach myself to other people and I started to live life on my own. The problem is, when I lived my life on my own, I chose the wrong direction. I headed down the wrong path. So I can understand what they're getting at. And now they're saying, like, we could have died in Egypt, we could have died in the wilderness. Why should we fall into the sword? So now we're leaving our wives and our children as possible prey to the people we're going to fight, because they're going to believe that they're going to lose. If we lose, we're exposing our women and children to plummeting to spoils of the war, and you know how bad that can get. And they said unto one another, let us make a captain and let us return to Egypt. So now they want to back away and go back to Egypt. Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. And Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of them that searched the land and rent their clothes. What does it mean to fall on the faces? Then Moses and Aaron fell on their... Did they pass out? Hold on. Fall on your faces. Like, is that a statement? I don't know what that means. Chapter 14, verse 5. Chapter 14, verse 5. Then Moses fell on their faces. Okay, verse 5. Then Moses fell downward on the ground. Fell face downward. Fell face downward. Okay, so are they passing out? Okay, all right. Is it that they are... Is it an act of, I'm falling on my face to have reverence and forgiveness and worshiping? Or is it... That's what my question is. Or are literally they are so angry or moved that they're passing out? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Let us make a... Because here's the thing. Why would Moses and Aaron give respect to the Egyptians who now want to go back? You know what I mean? In other words, the congregation is yelling, is once again complaining, and they're yelling at Moses and Aaron, and they're saying, we want to go back. Let's appoint a captain and to go back to Egypt. And now I would think Moses and Aaron would be against that, but now are Moses and Aaron giving up and saying, no, we're going to go, or are they like so angry? Let me move on. Let me go on. Like, maybe it explains it, but I just think that that's a weird reaction. The people of your church are saying, we don't want to risk our lives or of our women and children, so let's appoint somebody as a captain, ignoring Aaron and Moses, and let's appoint a captain to send us back to Egypt because we're cutting ties with you. That's what I'm thinking, what's happening, what the people are doing. All right, let me go back to 3. The Lord had brought us onto the land to fall by sword, that our wives and children should be prey. Were it not better for us to return to Egypt? And then they said to one another, let us make a captain and let us return to Egypt. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all of the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel. And Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jeshurun, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes, and they spoke unto the company of the children of Israel, saying, the land which we passed through to search is exceedingly good land. If the Lord delights in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which flow with milk and honey. Or maybe it's frustration. It could be frustration. I don't know. I don't have my Bible because, you're waiting on a haircut? Well, good luck with your haircut. Okay, that's interesting. You're going to get a haircut and you're listening to me. I appreciate it, Kaz. Thank you. If the Lord delight in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which is flowing with milk and honey. Only rebel not ye against the Lord, neither fear ye the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Fear them not. But all the congregation bade stone them with stones. And the glory of the Lord appeared. Okay, so wait. Hold on. Time out. Okay. I'm trying to get this image in the head, okay? So the people are rebelling, saying, no, we're not going to fight these giants. We're not going to subject our women and children to war. Let's appoint a captain and go back to... So I'm going to get that the people are angry. Moses and Aaron are now falling into the thing. I don't think they're doing it out of sorrow, because now they're stoning them. They're taking stones. The Lord is going to come appear. But let me. Okay, so you're reading the New Living. Okay, New Living. Let me go back to this. All right. The people said, we wish we had died in Egypt. They wailed, or even here in the wilderness, rather than be taken into the country ahead of us. Jehovah will kill us there. Interesting, it says Jehovah. Jehovah will kill us there, and our wives and little ones will become slaves. Let's get out of here and return to Egypt. The idea swept the camp. Let's elect a leader to take us back to Egypt, they shouted. Then Moses and Aaron fell face downward to the ground before the people of Israel. Two of the spies, Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jeshua, ripped their clothing off and said to all the people, it is a wonderful country ahead, and the Lord loves us. He will bring us safely into the land and give it to us milk and honey. It is a very fertile land. Hold on, let me go on, because this is getting good. Afraid of the people of the land, because he will swallow them up. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid. But the whole assembly talked about stoning them. Then the glory of the Lord appeared. Okay, so I just read the NLT version. Okay, so in other words, this is a very, very heated moment. I think they fell on their faces because they were outnumbered, and probably because they might have been beaten up. I'm going to say that, because just think about this. This is a mob mentality that's now saying, we don't appreciate you as our leaders. We are going to appoint a different leader because we want to go back to Egypt. We want to go back to our slavery. Now the two of them are on the ground in surrender. I'm going to say in surrender, not out of passing out or out of reverence. They're surrendering in this anger, and the people are now talking about stoning Moses and Aaron. And at the same time, the other guys are ripping off their clothes and saying, okay, it's mass hysteria or mob mentality, and Moses and everyone were trying to talk sense into them. That's what I think's happening. Hello, 21. Uh-oh, he came in, he's like, what did I get myself into? Oh, no, this is actually good stuff. Okay. Okay, so wait. So all the congregation bade stone them with stones. So they were going, so they were talking about stoning Aaron, and I think falling to the ground was out of anger and frustration. It's one of two things, which they don't necessarily, it's either anger and frustration, or like I said, it's defeat. I'm going to go with the fact, because I really don't think they would fall to the ground out of anger and frustration. I think they would fall to the ground because, particularly with this mob mentality, they're about to get killed with stones. I think they're doing it because they were pushed down to the ground. They were in defeat. They were outnumbered. That's how I'm going to take it, because I just don't think you fall to the ground out of frustration. I'm thinking there's more to the story. Like, yes, they're angry, but it's like you've got this mob mentality and you're being overruled. So let's see what happens, because the Lord is going to step in. The glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel. That's another thing I want to keep a tally of, is how many times the Lord actually appeared as opposed to in their heads or in dreams. So actual visitations. So this is a actual visitation. And the Lord said unto Moses, how long will this people provoke me? How long will it be here they believe me? For all the signs which I have shown them. Okay, interesting. The Lord is appearing. Why would he ask Moses that question and not ask the people that question? Why would he say to them, why wouldn't he look at the people and say, look, I'm here. Why don't you believe in my miracles? So I feel like he's now putting the blame on Moses, because he's turning to Moses, and who's on the floor, and saying, why aren't these people getting what's going on? Because Moses is their leader? Possibly. But he's like, why aren't they? I will smite them with pestilence. Pestilence is back. I think that's the third time pestilence is coming back into the picture. And I think pestilence is important later on when we get to the four horsemen. Moses is the go-between for God and the people. Okay, which that makes sense. I just find it funny that he's only focusing where he's right there in the congregation. He might as well start yelling at the mob mentality. But I will smite them with pestilence and disinherit them, and will make of thee a greater nation and mightier than they. And Moses said unto the Lord, then the Egyptians shall hear it, for thou broughtest up the people in thy might from among them. Okay, so now the Lord is saying, I'm going to smite them, but because the people among them are also Egyptians, Moses is giving the warning, like, look, if you're saying that we're going to be better, remember, they come from Egypt, so Egypt is going to hear about this. So I think Moses is being a realist, saying, all right, if we're going to be doing with what we're doing, not only are we going to be battling these people, we're going to have to battle the Egyptians, because if you're saying that we're going to be better, then the Egyptians are going to be our enemies as well. Let me go on. They will have to tell it to the inhabitants of this land, for they have heard that thou, Lord, art among his people, and thou, Lord, art seen face to face, and thy cloud standeth over them, and thou goest forth before them, by day time in the pillar of a cloud, and in a pillar of fire by night. Okay, so once again, and I think this is a very, very important thing, he's physically being them. Okay, by day through cloud, by night through fire. But he keeps visiting these people in the, I'm going to say in the spiritual flesh. Like, he's not flesh, but he's there that they can physically see him. Now, if thou shalt kill all these people as one man, then the nations which have heard the fame of thee will speak, saying, because the Lord was not able to bring this people into the land which he swore unto them, therefore he had slain them in the wilderness. He's bringing up a good point, because if they turn around to go back to Egypt, or if he killed them, then he's not giving them the promise that he said. which is almost interesting because the numbers keep dwindling down. He keeps going on this murderous rampage and keeps killing the people. Murderous rampage as far as they keep disappointing and they keep angering him. I'm understanding that, but I'm just calling it for the time being a murderous rampage, because he's going to bring pestilence upon them now. It may get to the point where there'll be no people left if they keep disobeying. Also, it tells Egypt that God is not all powerful because he couldn't. Exactly. And that's right. Like he's trying to say, if you don't get these people to the area of milk and honey, then you're going to be considered a liar, and people aren't going to believe you. They're not going to believe that the Lord did what he wanted to do. You saved these people only to go out and kill them and never give them the very thing that you promised. So I think this is a very, very important discussion, because on one end, they're exactly right. They're looking for the proof, but they didn't finish the journey yet. They're only midway into the journey. They're looking for, hey, you're telling me you're the Lord, you're making these promises, where are the promises? Because at this point, we're sick and tired of your promises. We'd rather go back to Egypt because we don't want to risk our lives, the lives of our women and our lives of our children, because we already risked so much. So I think that's what's going on in this point. Yeah, I think we're up to date on that. Okay. Because the Lord was not able to bring the people into land which he swore unto them, therefore he had slain them in the wilderness. And now I beseech thee, let the power of my Lord be great, according as thou hast spoken, saying... Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Just got a message. I just wanted to see what they said. They're losing their faith because it's not happening in their own timelines. God is taking too long. Yes, and patience is something that is very, very interesting. I say patience because we already know they lost patience with the Mount Sinai. So while Moses was up talking with God on Mount Sinai, they were impatient that they already started a fire and worshiping the other gods, and Moses got angry and destroyed the Ten Commandments because of that. Now this is another, they were impatient about not being able to have meat, so they ended up getting punished where the quail were dropped on them. Now there's this impatience that, well, wait a minute, let's see what's happening, because you're promising this land of milk and honey, and now you're putting us into war. So it's not that God didn't provide, it's that he didn't do it fast enough for their liking. Absolutely. They wanted it done on their timeline, not on his timeline. And I think that's what's interesting, tying back to that video that I was watching with the atheists, is the fact that people are saying, why doesn't God do this for me? Why doesn't God do this for me? They have expectations of God, but they're missing the point of the things that God actually does for them. They're too busy focused on the things that they want instead of the stuff that's actually happening. So it's all the story. God will take care of you, but it may take a while. Absolutely. Patience is a virtue. And I think that's why, just going back to my silly little game I was talking about, the fact that, like I said, I'm at the point where it'll take me 160 days to build a little something. And I have to earn like speed ups, and I have to earn. And the fact is, I've been playing this game for a year and a half now, daily. I know it's silly, but it's the whole building process. It's the whole little joy that I can increase on a very, very, very slow basis. Okay, I'm sorry. They had to learn all this before they could face the people inhabiting the land. Yes, because I'm going to think that this is going to be a very brutal battle. This is not going to be an easy battle if they choose to fight with giants. There may be life losses. There may be issues with the women and children. I mean, this is going to be the consequence of war. But maybe the end will be that promised land. I just have a feeling they're not going to get to the promised land. I'm sorry. I think they're all going to fail. I don't. I really genuinely do not know what's going to happen. I don't want to know what happens. I want to build up to the story and see what happens. But I'm going to be the cynical one that nobody gets to the promised land. They had to learn that God would take care of them before they could go at it alone. Faith. They had to have the faith. If they didn't learn this, they would have given up and been taken into slavery. So they can have the knowledge, but the key to knowledge and or belief is also faith. And I'm going to say this, I think that's what I lack. That one word, faith. Silly story. There was a point in my life that I lost all hope. Hope for me was the key word that I lost. So what did I do? I named my kitty cat Hope. As silly as that sounds. And Hope is now 9 years old. So this is going back 9 years. But the fact is, like 9 years ago, I lost all hope. So I named my kitty cat Hope, as there's a constant reminder that I have hope in my life. And that little change. So I think maybe that's what I need to do. I need to make my next animal Faith. No, I don't want to say that because I keep teasing Chris because Chris wants to get another animal. I'm like, Chris, we've got 6 animals. We've got 3 cats, 3 dogs. I'm like, that's more than enough animals. I says, if it's meant to be for us to get an animal, it'll be like the distribution system where the animal will just appear. But no, we are not going out to adopt an animal or buy an animal or something like that. So, I says, if we're really meant to have an animal, it'll just appear out of nowhere. Speak it into existence, the power of the tongue. Exactly. I there's so much power through words. I think the proper word is manifestation. And that can be taken both evil and good. But as far as if you speak it, if you make it happen, it could be both good and it could be a good thing. So I think that's important. All right. Okay, where was I? I forgot where I was. So done. Okay, hold on. Okay, chapter 14, verse. I'm going to say chapter 14, verse 14. I'm not too sure where we are, but I'm going to go back to 14. Manifestation is something else because it puts power on something other than. But I've always heard about manifestation in the Christian sense too. That, okay, so I know that word could be used on an evil sense, but in Christian circles, I also heard that you can manifest things through the power of the Lord. So that's I'm looking at it from the positive view, unless that's something that you're feeling that word is completely. You can't manifest a new car, but you can speak in faith that God will provide and find a used car that you can afford. This is an interesting thing, and I know I said this before, and I think now that I've been praying daily, it's changing a little bit, but I always had a problem for praying for myself. I have no problem praying for other people, but when it comes to praying for myself, because I feel like the act of prayer is greedy when you want something for yourself. But then at the same time, there's also wishful thinking. I wish I was happy. I wish all my bills were paid. I wish for this. I wish for, you know what I mean? Let me change the words. I pray that all my bills are paid. I almost feel like there's a sense of greediness and entitlement when you start praying for materialistic for yourself. And I think that's where I have problems, is where I pray for myself. I've always had a problem with that. But then that also goes back to what we talked about. I have problems for asking for things for myself. And that's why Chris knows I never ask for anything. I never ask for anything. I try to explain this to him, and I think he doesn't understand. I would flat out deny myself the very thing I want and need instead of having to ask for it. So, and that's so bad. That really is. That's so bad. I mean, if you think about it, that's like. But you have to be okay when the answer is no. I have a problem. I think that's the problem. Is all my life the answer has always been no. So I got in, and I'm not talking about to God. I'm talking about in general. My life answers have always been no. So to protect myself from never having a no answer, then just never ask the question, and then you'll never get a no answer. That's a psychological problem, I know. But God is not a drive-through genie. Prayer for yourself needs to go along with other prayers. And I mean, like I said, my prayers daily right now are simple as far as when we do the show. I pray for clarity. I pray for understanding. I pray for a peaceful show with not too much arguments, not too much negativity on the, that's what I pray for daily. Today, I thanked and I was grateful for what happened yesterday. That was a prayer that was actually an acknowledgement, thanks. But I guess I feel bad about actually praying for something for me. But God knows what you need even when you don't ask. But asking is part of the relationship and trust. And that's the problem. I don't ask for anything. As silly as this sounds, this is a bit silly. I'm finally getting my hoodie. It sounds so stupid. I have hoodies. I have a jacket here. I have a jacket here. Chris was so upset when I put on my winter jacket for the first time. He was upset because he's like, the thing is old, the thing is stained, the thing needs to be tossed out. And he's like, that's your jacket. Like he was upset. He's like, that is your jacket. And I said, Chris, you have to realize I don't wear jackets. Like, how often now that it's getting cold, but he didn't realize that I didn't necessarily have a jacket to go outside. So we just ordered one. It's coming in the mail tomorrow. I'm happy about that. But it's like, he's like, you need clothes. You need jacket, you need to stay warm. But yet at the same time, I'm also the one that when we go out, I'll have the scarf, I'll have the hat, I'll have the gloves. I mean, I'm all prepared. He just was really upset that when we went out and I put a jacket on and there was like a rip in the jacket, there was the stains on the jacket. And he looked at me, he's like, how old is that jacket? And when I told him, he's like, you're getting a new jacket. Just get a new jacket. Sorry. Asking for prayer for yourself is not selfish. It's acknowledging that he is the provider. Like when your kid asks you to make her some dinner, is that selfish? Okay, I'm one of those people. I will ask the kids. This is what I do, and this is literally what I do. I say, okay, kids, the choice is I've got this or this. Does either one of you have a preference on what you would like? I'm not going to make both meals. They have to agree upon themselves. This is the options we have. So I am under the point you either eat or do without. That's the attitude I have. You either eat it or do without. If you don't want to eat it, fine, then don't eat it. But I will make things that will accommodate. So for example, like I know I like peas. Chris likes green beans. The kids like corn. So you know something? I will make that. I will make corn for the kids. I'll make green beans and I'll make peas for myself. That's not a big deal because I could always, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to prepare one meal for this person, one meal for this person. You know what I mean? I'll adjust the sides, but generally speaking, the meals will be something that we can all family style all. Yeah, in fact, yesterday I really wasn't in the mood for cooking. I said to Chris, I'm like, can we order Chinese? I actually asked him, can we order Chinese? He's like, okay, so we ordered Chinese, but that's immediately what he did. I said to the kids, okay, what do you guys want to eat? And they're like, chicken. And I look at them, I'm like, really, guys? Okay, what kind of chicken? Because we never order Chinese. It's not something that's constant. I says, okay, do you want sweet and sour chicken? Do you want sesame chicken? Do you want General Tso's chicken? And they're looking at me so I realized, I'm like, how about this? Do you want little fried pieces of chicken? I says, okay, you guys want sweet and sour chicken, which they loved it. They were happy with, but I think they were confused. It's like, We just want chicken and rice. I'm like, well, there's so many different sauces and stuff. But the point is, it's like family style. I'm not going to individually ask and accommodate to each individual one. They can either eat or do without. That's how I look at it. All right. Whew, sorry. Where was I, guys? All right, let's get back to this. Because I know I'm all over the place. All right, so the Lord is actually the peer, and it says, "Now if thou shalt kill all his people as one man, then the nations which have heard the fame of thee will speak, saying, Because the Lord was not able to bring the people into this land, which he swore unto them, therefore he had slain them into the wilderness." So basically they're saying that the nations are going to point out and call the Lord a liar. You lied to these people because you said you were going to give them this, and instead you brought murder upon them. The Lord is love. Oh, wait. "And now I beseech thee, let the power of my Lord be great, according as thou hast spoken, saying, The Lord is long-suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children onto the third and fourth generation." Ooh, I feel like that means something. Chapter 18, but I'm not too sure what it's saying. Let me just read the next couple of it, then I'll go back to that. "Pardon, I beseech thee, the iniquity of this people according unto the greatness of thy mercy, as thou hast forgiven his people from Egypt, even until now. And the Lord said, I have pardoned according to thy word. But as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord." Okay, hold on, guys. A lot is being said in a very, very condensed things. So I want to make sure what is being said I'm understanding. So what I'll do is I'll read the NIV. We're on chapter 14, verse 18. So verse 18. Let me see what the Living Bible says, because at least the Living Bible describes it a little more. So 18. "Oh, please show us this great power of your patience by forgiving our sins and showing us your steadfast love. Forgive us, even as though you have said that you don't let sin go unpunished, and that you punish the father's fault in the children to the third and fourth generation. Oh, I plead with you, pardon the sins of these people because of your magnificent, steadfast love, just as I've forgiven all of them the time from when we left Egypt." Okay, wait. Okay, this is important. Who is doing the talking? I know that sounds weird. Who is doing the talking? Because when I read this and when I read this, it is sounding like the people are talking to the Lord, who the Lord is now talking to God. Let me read that again. That's what it sounds like. 17. Let me read that again. I'll go back one. I'll go back to 16. "The Lord had to kill them because he wasn't able to take care of them in the wilderness. He wasn't strong enough to bring them into the land he swore he would." That's what the other people would say. "Oh, please show the great power of your patience by forgiving our sins and showing your steadfast love." Period. Okay, so that's the people are saying, please, will you forgive us? Show us your patience. Forgive us even though you have said that you don't let sin go punished, and that you punish the father's fault in the children to the third and fourth generation. So they're saying, please, we know you punish people. You have been punishing us for multiple generations. You will punish us for the sins of our father. Please forgive us. "Oh, I plead with you, pardon the sins of this people because of your magnificent, steadfast love, just as you've forgiven all the time from when we left Egypt until now." Okay, so now he's saying, "Oh, I plead with you." I thought for a second that was the Lord saying, "Oh, I plead with you." All right, so and then the Lord said, "All right, I will pardon them as you requested." Okay, so we are now seeing where the Lord is forgiving. The Lord is pardoning. This is, I'm going to say, precursor to him dying for your sins. If we're looking at Jesus, he is forgiving. He's washing away their sins. He's pardoning them. But let me go on because I feel like, yeah, this is a very important part. The Lord said, "I have pardoned according to thy word. But as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, have tempted me now, these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice. Surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it." So now he's saying, he's like, look, I will pardon everybody else, but you men right now, you're not going to see it. I will make a pardon for everybody else, but you're not going to. So did he just condemn them? Did he just say we are not going to the promised land? That's a question. Now, guys, I just need to pause 1 second. I'm going to pause my live. I will be right back. Hold on. Let me pause. How do I pause my live? Pause live. I'll be right back, okay? We're going to pause for just a couple minutes. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'm here. Had to pause it for a minute. You can laugh at me. Normally I'm fine, but this morning I really had to go to the bathroom. So that's why I paused the live. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so I'm shaking my head, but all right, so this is important, guys. So did he just condemn the existing people? Because he's saying, he's like, let me go back. He says, "I have pardoned according to thy word, but as truly as I live, treasure." Yeah, she just jumped up and then just missed her mark and fell back down. "But truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Because of all these men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, have tempted me now these 10 times and have not hearkened to my voice." Has there been 10 times? I need to count that. Maybe there has been 10 times because they challenged him with the quail. They challenged him with the marriage. They challenged him with the, so maybe by this point it has been 10 times. I'm thinking they challenged him with the fire. They challenged him with, so these 10 times, and have not hearkened my voice. Surely they shall not see the land which I swore unto their fathers, neither shall any of them provoke me. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and had followed me fully, him I will bring into the land wherever he went, and his seed shall possess it. Caleb. Okay, so now he's focusing on Caleb. He's not giving it to anybody else. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwelt in the valley. Tomorrow turn you and get you into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. And the Lord spoke unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, How long shall I bear this evil congregation which murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, which they murmur against me. Interesting. He's calling his own congregation evil. He's condemning his own congregation. Now, I understand it's because they're not obeying him, but I just find it interesting how it's like he doesn't have the power to make them not evil, even with the signs and wonders. But let me go on. Say unto them, As truly as I live, said the Lord, and ye spoken into my ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were number of you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me. Doubtless ye shall not come into the land concerning which I swear to you, make dwell therein, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. Okay, so those were the two. Those were the two that ripped their clothing off, and basically, because when Moses and Aaron fell to the ground, that's why I'm thinking Moses and Aaron surrendered. Moses and Aaron fell to the ground. That is when Joshua and Caleb came up, ripped off their clothes, and basically were supporting the Lord. They're saying, Ye shall not come into the land concerning which I swear you dwell therein, save Caleb the son of Jaleb and Joshua. So he's saving Caleb and Joshua. But your little ones, which he said should be prey, them I will bring, and they shall know the land which ye has despised. So now he's punishing the fathers. You are so concerned about your women and children. I'm going to take your children to this promised land. I'm going to take Jacob and Caleb to this promised land. But you, on the other hand, who went against me and murmured against me, they're condemned. But for you, your carcasses, they shall fall into the wilderness, and your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years and bear your whoredoms, until your carcasses be wasted in the wilderness. After the number of the days in which you search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year shall you bear your iniquities, even 40 years. And ye shall know my breach of promise. I, the Lord, have said, I will surely do it unto this evil congregation that gathered together against me. In the wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. And the men which Moses sent to search the land, who returned and made all the congregation to murder against them by bringing up a slander upon the land. Even those men that did bring up the evil report of the land died by the plague before the Lord. Okay, once again, murderous rampage. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of the men that went to search the land, still lived. Okay, so all those 12 princes and 12 heads that they went to go search, they were the only two that survived. And Moses told these sayings unto the children of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. They rose up early in the morning and sat up on top of the mountain, saying, Lo, we be here, and go up to this place which the Lord had promised, for we have sinned. And Moses said, Wherefore now ye transgress the commandment of the Lord, but it shall not prosper. Go not up, for the Lord is not among you, that ye might not smite before the enemies. Okay, so now the Lord's not with them anymore. Did he officially leave them? For the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and ye shall fall by the sword. Because you turned away from the Lord, therefore the Lord would not be with you. Excuse me, I'm choking here. Sorry about that, guys. But they presumed to go up the hill on the top. Nevertheless, the ark of the covenant of the Lord and Moses departed not out of the camp. Then the Amalekites came down, and the Canaanites which dwelled in hell had smote them, discomfited them, and even into Hormah. Hormah. What's Hormah? Was Hormah a place, or is Hormah... I don't know what Hormah is. Define Hormah. Okay, it's a city. It's a term that refers to a city, particularly in the context of Israelites. The name Hormah translates to devoted to destruction or ban. It indicates a historical significance, as this place was conquered and destroyed by the Israelites. The term is also associated with the concept of being accursed. So basically, when things are going wrong, you're cursed back to the city of Hormah. I have a question. I just want to see something. Okay. Okay, so Hormah is a biblical city. Just leave it as that. Okay. Chapter 15. We going? Yeah, we'll go to chapter 15. I'm getting tired. It's not bad, I'm getting tired. All right, chapter 15. Let's do one more, and then I'll probably end it after this chapter. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye come to the land of your habitations, which I give you, I will make an offering by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering or a sacrifice, in performing a vow or in a freewill offering, or in your solemn feast to make sweet savor unto the Lord of the head of the flock. I feel like there's more to that saying, sweet savor unto the Lord. I mean, I almost feel like it's some sort of... It's some sort of prayer. It's some sort of acknowledgement. It's some sort of action. It repeats itself constantly. Sweet savor of the Lord. So I feel like it has more of a significance than what I'm reading. Then shall his offering unto the Lord bring a meat offering of the 10th deal of flour, mingled with the fourth part of oil. And the fourth part of a hin of wine for a drink offering shall prepare with the burnt offering. So basically we're doing the different offerings right now. Or for the ram shall prepare for a meat offering, or 10th deal of flour mingled with the third part. And for a drink offering thou shalt bring the third part of hin for wine, for a sweet savor unto the Lord. There's that word, that sweet savor unto the Lord. I feel like there's more of a meaning behind that. When thou preparest a bullock for a burnt offering for sacrifice, in performing a vow or peace offering unto the Lord, then shall he bring the bullock a meat offering with 10 deals of flour mingled with half an hin. And thou shalt bring a drink offering, half a hin of wine, for an offering made by fire of the sweet savor unto the Lord. Thus shall it be done for one bullock, or for one ram, or for one lamb, or for a kid. According to the number that ye shall prepare, so shall ye do it to everyone according to their number. All that are born of this country shall do these things after this manner, in offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. And if a stranger sojourns with you, or whosoever be among you in your generations, will the offering be made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. And ye shall do, so he shall do. Okay, once again, it's that repetitiveness, that sweet savor unto the Lord. One ordinance shall be both for you and the congregation, and one for the stranger that sojourneth with you. An ordinance forever in your generations. As ye are, so shall the stranger be before the Lord. One law and one manner shall be for you, and one for the stranger that sojourneth with you. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye come into the land, whither I bring you, then it shall be that when you eat of the bread of the land, ye shall offer a heave offering unto the Lord. Ye shall offer a cake of your first of your dough, and have an offering as ye do the heave offering of the threshing floor, so ye have it. Of the first of your dough ye shall give unto the Lord a heave offering in your generations. And if ye had earned it observed all these commandments which the Lord had spoken, even all the Lord had commanded you by the hand of Moses, from the day the Lord commanded Moses and henceforth among your generations. Then it shall be, if aught be committed by ignorance, without the knowledge of the congregation, that all the congregation shall offer one young bullock for a burnt offering, for a sweet savor unto the Lord, with his meat offering, with his drink offering, according to the manner of one of the kid goats, and his sin offering. And the priest shall make atonement for all the congregation of the children of Israel, and it shall be forgiven them. For it is ignorance, and they shall bring their offering a sacrifice made by fire unto the Lord, and their sin offering before the Lord for their ignorance. See, that's one thing about the Lord. And I almost want to say it's about law as well. Ignorance is not an excuse. So even in this, you still need to do the atonement, even if you were ignorant or have no idea what's going on. It shall be forgiven all the congregation and the children of Israel, and the stranger that sojourneth among them, seeing all the people were ignorant. And if any soul sin through ignorance, then he shall bring the goat of the first year for sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for the soul that sinneth ignorantly, when he sinneth by ignorance before the Lord, to make atonement for him, it shall be forgiven. Ye shall have one law for him that sinneth through ignorance, both for him that is born among the children, and for the stranger that sojourneth among them. But the soul that ought presumptuously, whether he be born in the land or a stranger, the same reproach to the Lord, that soul shall be cut off among his people. Okay, so he's giving a way out for the people of ignorance. So readings do not hold any power. Okay, you can believe that. That's fine. This is interesting because he's giving a way out for the people who are ignorant. So he's saying if you don't know what's going on, if you don't know what is happening, as long as you give your offerings, as long as you give your you'll be forgiven if you follow my path and do these offerings. However, if you did this knowing full well what you're doing and choosing to do this, then he's going to completely cut the soul off. Cut them from the people. He is ostracizing them. They're doing it out of malicious knowledge that they know what they're doing. So it's like he's giving a chance for the people who are clueless, but if they're doing it because they know what they're doing, then he's cutting them off. Because he that despised the word of the Lord and had broken his commandments, that soul shall be utterly cut off, and his iniquity shall be upon him. 31. I like that chapter. Chapter 31. I almost want to give it to all the trolls that come in here because it's almost perfect. He had despised the word of the Lord and broken the commandments. That soul shall be cut off, and his iniquity shall be upon him. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. He's going against the Sabbath. And they found that him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and all the congregation. And they put him in ward because it was not declared what should be done with him. And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. Okay, so now, simply because this guy worked on this Sabbath, gathering sticks, his punishment is now going to be he's getting stoned. He's going to be killed for his transgression. All the congregation brought him within the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died, as the Lord commanded Moses. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they would make them fringes in the borders of their garment throughout their generations. And they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all that command of the Lord, and do to them. And ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go a-whoring, that ye may remember and do all my commandments, and be holy unto your God. I am the Lord your God, for which brought you out of the land of Egypt, to be your God. I am the Lord your God. I still find that, I will say this, I'm going to stop here, guys. I still find that very, very interesting. And it's the wording. And I know I got to be careful with wording, but I feel like, and please forgive me for saying this, I feel like the Lord is trying so much to prove himself. He keeps saying, I am the Lord your God. He's not saying, I am God of everyone. He's trying specifically to convince these people and these people alone. He's giving them a promise. I'm going to bring you to the land of milk and honey. I'm showing you these miracles. I am the Lord your God. But at the same time, he's punishing these outrageous punishments for their disobedience. Now, granted, they are constantly disobeying. If the number is correct, he said 10 times already. I almost want to go back. I mean, I'm not going to do it today, but maybe when I have a weekend or something, and I want to go back and reread. I'm a very fast reader, so I want to reread and almost do a tally of, like I said, how many times he is forgiven, how many times he gets angry, how many times he's killed someone. And I want to see, up until this point, how many times has he done this. I think the numbers are going to be interesting. And when you start seeing the numbers and the cycles and the attitudes, I think it's going to be an interesting discussion. So I might take that upon myself to do that sort of study. But it's like what we were talking about earlier. You got to look at the good stuff. You got to look at the bad stuff. Yes, the bad stuff is so blaringly obvious. But to look at the good stuff, to look at the fact that he still gives an option for people who don't know what's going on. He still is putting the needs of the children first. That he's saying, you're going to suffer, but your children that you were so worried about, I'm still taking them to the promised land. I don't know. It's still a debate. I mean, it probably shouldn't be, but I enjoy the fact that I can read this and ask these questions and study it and look at it from both views. But what's going to happen, guys, it is now coming up to noontime. So I'm going to end the show here. I might start doing shows later on in the evenings as well. Not Bible shows, but something totally different. Because, I don't know, I want to see, maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. But for the time being, I want to say thank you for joining us. Lots of love. I love how you guys give me the loves and all that other stuff. And I hope everybody has a great day. We are going to start tomorrow. Oh, I forgot to write down where we're starting. We are starting chapter 16. Yes, chapter 16. Okay. Chapter 16. That will be show number 48, and it'll be December 11th. Okay, guys, have a great day. We will talk to you, and keep smiling.